Hi.
How are you, Captain Schuster?
Welcome back. Everyone calls me Young Carlos.
Oh,
Come on
okay. Young Carlos, how are you?
Outstanding as always. Just catching up reading an old classic.
Am I interrupting you?
No, not really.
We're actually doing a series called 5 Things You Don't Know About Me. I mean, do you have a few minutes?
Sure.
Maybe tell us a little bit about yourself, your background at HBU?
Well, I've been teaching at HBU since January of 2000.
Okay.
I'm retired Navy. I did 25 years of active duty. Retired as a captain in '99. I teach mostly military subjects. My master's is in international relations from the University of Southern California, and I've now lived in Hawaii since August of 1994.
Wow. Okay, you've been here quite a while.
Sir.
How long have you been at HBU?
Almost 21 years.
Wow.
From January 2000 until I took a sabbatical this year.
Oh, okay. Wow.
I'll be teaching again in the spring.
What classes do you normally teach?
I normally teach, in the last 5 years, I teach either Chinese national security, modern military doctrine, or theory and practice of insurgency and counterinsurgency. Depending on how many students there are, I can also teach maritime operations, intelligence operations, or deception operations, whatever the students will go for.
Well, young Carlos, that sounds like really fascinating courses.
Well, thank you. They're fun to teach and hopefully fun to learn.
Yeah, I bet. I know this is off the top of your head, but do you maybe have 5 things we might not know about you?
A couple of things, I guess. My military background was somewhat mixed. I started out in river gunboats, then went diesel submarines, then I drove ships, and then I transferred to intelligence. Most of my experience in intelligence was in Europe.
Okay.
I did a lot of humanitarian assistance, disaster response in the Middle East. And then I came out here where I was mostly crisis management. On a personal level, my early childhood was great, but I was largely disease-ridden. And that has shaped my view on a lot of subjects that are relevant today. For example, I'm very strongly in favor of vaccination. I got polio in the last polio epidemic back in 1960, and I got it because I wasn't vaccinated. I was lucky. I've come out of it largely okay. But as a result, if you've ever spent a week in an iron lung, you'll be a big fan of anything that will prevent you from getting a disease that puts you in the hospital.
Of course.
And so I'm an advocate of vaccinations. I'm not a fan of mandates, but I find it interesting that when the United States population consisted of very few college graduates, that we accepted vaccinations as preferable to a disease.
Right.
And now with half of us having a college degree, we have a large portion of the population that's opposed to vaccinations. Doesn't make sense to me.
Wow.
The other thing is I'm a big fan of reading. I believe that you never know enough, if you will. You'll never achieve total knowledge, but the closer you get to it, the easier it is to understand what's going on.
Absolutely.
I follow China very closely. I think that they are the next strategic concern for our country and indeed the world. I think that there's a tendency to focus on the military side of it, when in fact I think the economic and political public opinion side is probably more important in the long run. Military buildup can deter conflict, but if you want your position to be maintained and you want their ideas, or want to prevent their ideology and mindset from taking hold, then you need to have an attractive, effective, and consistent alternative that fits the needs of the people you're reaching out to. What we think is brilliant is not necessarily accepted as brilliant in other parts of the world.
Right.
Other than that, I love Hawaii. I think everyone would love to live here. It's a great place to live.
I know. Look at the background behind you. It's a perfect summer day. I mean, look at that.
Absolutely.
And we are in a library study room, and I think that might have been 4 things. Is there one more thing you can think of?
The only other thing I can think of is that the beauty of Hawaii Pacific University is we are a very free society here, in that we all talk fairly openly. There's a fairly free exchange of ideas, but also we're a very diverse student body.
Yes.
Almost 2/3 of our students are from other countries, and I think that's vital to learning. The American perspective is attractive to Americans. We all love it. I love it. But the reality is it's not the only perspective, And if you think that we're always going to be right or that ours is the best way, then you're going to be disappointed, and you're going to face a lot of roadblocks, if you will, as you try to bring other countries and other people on board. Their perspectives every bit as valid and valuable. And the more you learn of it and from them, the better and more knowledgeable you will be.
Well, I really appreciate the time that you spent talking to us.
Thank you, sir, and thanks for having me.
Thank you. Yeah, aloha.
Aloha and mahalo.